malingil tutaw at mga other ogoy. Malingil tutaw Mr. Talams marang marsta forkaw. Agi madingutal te ale orang asulala Mr. Talams sa kalorang aringim. Kara mapto ka atitwal ang ting disabi atil malmal mirasyorgi. Kama mamal blo also Maria kat mo kalmirasyo mong gimal بقول الملاس ملوسيجا يجي الغرا ونجيل الولدسوال لما ونجيل الغرا ضصاد التقوي يقوق مين مجي أبديتر أذر أبلو الويسي نقول أم لريني سلجي للتر إلي ما قرا دي أورين القمو الغما أو أقرا دي هوب الوسير أذر أقوي هذه منو ذا يتشوف ما سوق مقام قرا مجي قد مقرا بليمي و gonna clean up. I hope you're all having a good day today. Ngagi del matagi del mal gonna bring la sils. Ma shorgi del altuta wa mal di mo provide gonna be update. Discuss again gonna some of the trending topics. El altam el gonna ngalingi ya so del abulu mang so ma me gonna di mo others again gonna rior malubong gonna tokol kiblam start and rule gonna prepare git el kire lagay git el rior malway say I guess terang el tutawa nga researcher la center nga dire kan natalbel el guest terang regel na mamri el episode nga igalaw nga researcher igalaw el tutawa o bangi el mom sadra tokol dum godarin was en coral bleaching doon sa coral bleaching sel bol di bol beelele wa maranda ano ko da din nga maranda el mayo itili clorax sa ngi mang bleach el mo beelele mang ngaringi yan na mamali kal sande ngaringi ra adal malkol mong multo observation er tom da sula seng number na cook na start tan maringi trend ra coral bleaching ra igal الموارد جيدرا ثبل بيلاو ngaringi tang bato ko ulang mo happen tagi del tokoy malway say yung ngaringi tokoy el may ada center ang ngaringi kel ko protocol malubang ko practices in place sel so monto pa kay gid trends etira to del mo o mesay kay gid el maranda malubang ang armal ko mo experience sa maknit el quality na tap ma igalaw el alto tawa di mo o banggeral mo o koramos mo di segit el toko na coral bleaching may kagit el assessment law rule so ngil tutaw igalaw
ay tutaw so lang singe tutaw sadoy more kamil ko listening and watching. Thank you for having me here. Nkleka iglaw oto, akong researcher at Pickwick. You have to forgive me, I'm going to speak in English. But if you have questions, Samil call and you can ask in Palawan. I can understand, and also Singe can also translate. So what Singe was saying was usually when the people in the community have been noticing that the corals have been turning white, and so they've been notifying us that it's becoming more and more obvious. Every now and then, every summer, we get a little bit of bleaching, but it's not something that always catches your eye, but it's really obvious when you're driving over the reefs and stuff when you see patches of white. So they've been telling us about this, and so a few weeks ago, we decided to do a rapid assessment. So we chose a few sites around Palau and we went to go check them to see what the status and what the level of bleaching is in those different sites. Based on that survey, we came back and we determined that it is quite high, the bleaching. So we are now doing coral bleaching surveys. But before I go into that, I just wanted to kind of backtrack and explain what coral bleaching is for some of you who don't know, and a little bit of the history. So corals need a really delicate environment to survive. One of the things that they need is a steady temperature of the water. When the water temperature increases and gets too high for them, they start to stress. And when they stress, they release these algae that lives inside their bodies. They release them so that they can focus on themselves. But they have this symbiotic relationship with the algae, which means that they need the algae to survive for long term, and the algae needs the coral. But when the corals get stressed, they get rid of the algae because they need to start thinking of themselves, and that's what turns them white. The algae is what give them their color, and when they release all of that, the corals become white. Corals can recover from that if the conditions go back to normal and they're kind of in their happy place. They can recover for that. But if they stay white for too long, there is an increased possibility of them dying. And so that's what we call coral bleaching. In 1998 was a mass bleaching that happened all around the world that hit all of the coral reefs. And this is kind of what triggered the Palau International Coral Reef Act and the center to do the work. Prior to 1998, there wasn't much information about what happens to the reef. So since then, we've been collecting and doing all of our surveys for this reason. So 1998, we had the big bleaching. And then the next bleaching that occurred was in 2010. So that was 12 years later, and it took so many years for those corals in 1998 to recover. So in 2010, we had a big bleaching. Followed by 2010, there was a 2017 bleaching that really impacted Australia and other coral reefs, but Palau were able to avoid that. For whatever reason, something was happening in Palau during that time that the corals weren't affected. So we missed the 2017, but there was this low-scale bleaching in 2020, and now we're experiencing another bleaching 2022. So one of the concerning things about this is kind of bleaching is a natural phenomenon, but the scale in which the frequency in which it's occurring is concerning. So from 1998 to 2010, that's 12 years. And then from 2010 to 2020, that's 10 years. And now we're 2020 to 2022, and now that's 2 years. So the rate in which we're having this coral bleaching is happening a lot faster and faster, and is not giving these corals time to recover. So that's what's concerning. So now we're doing our survey for 2022. We have 80 sites all the way around Palau, from Kayan all the way to Angar. And we're going to go to all of those 80 sites, and we're taking pictures, and we're going to analyze at those sites just how much percentage of bleaching is happening. And from that, we'll be able to kind of monitor the reefs here on out. I think, any questions? Maybe Singe can give a little bit explanation.
So malungit tutaw igalaw amlos model was say take the coral bleaching ablo oil ada kalkatangil happen tiang sira 1998 yung naringi sa gid coral bleaching el mamla affect ra patokol blura blul ad el ultimo kanya belaw aul mandiri kal mloktub sa gid el Palau International Coral Reef Act maoriol gila la gid el lomsube la Miranda ma teletele la kaldele la dab man sabe la morngi agora muy clown dengeri gid el gila la Miranda ma gid el bek padeng la arman nga dab dire kal wasesera 2010 yung naringi bleaching el happen der belaw ma dire kal 2017 yung most del blura blul ada naringi coral bleaching event ding mum naringa ngaraluul mabela wadim lakal bol affected amaran taringi ding sege del dirikal 2020 mong naringi dirikal bleaching el al 2022 yung naringi bleaching mong wase sel ay ka dub al tokoy ding sel boto sa trend malub ang aringa latta maldub eng dimran mo gigari atay maratalongalen so sa 1998 til mo 2010 ang ulus pe at 12 years ay kal Miranda recover mutal tub kora thrive until ako next bleaching event. Ako 2010 mo 2020 yung meron nga 10 years na talong alin. Elaang yung 2022 esel mlelas tal bleaching event tal meron nga yamle sila 2020 mangwal was hindi ko 2 years alboringi ay gal alboringi sa last tal bleaching mangwal kora na mo kaya time basta nga Miranda may kay baby armel Miranda nga alsel el quick cover mutal lom korok like ay git el coral reef system ang wasa ay kal Miranda ulmong mo bleach one ra ko tulklolo ulang mo belela Miranda kaldala ta masal suko mar atra bulwa mora malubo totob del mora kadikere o mes Miranda la moyer de belelew en mo niya to kol me and then tomo start to bro like el tomo ko yung lasing rapid assessment totob del mo omes la sengila el marngisal cloud survey mailala katrila rapid assessment ko lo matigal yung lasengila del marur sa del cloud arung survey lase malwang ra tele lamran de mga sa selbo loro lagi del survey ito mo omes ay gagi del wal airil pasyol lomurang ayang al barbari del melmerang ayaw yang ngaring gagi del kukalaw trako kalpasyol borngi omes malasya sing tira mo sabi il determine na sayang malmlawang arang impact tagi del kukoral bleaching il happen el alir ikalawa diri kan mas model sa sel luul mang mo coral bleaching kalmaran ta ngaringi makadaring nilo sing kora alchi malubang armela marantel ngara alsel etyal maranta kora di kora wala iuis yang kay kital alchi malubang armela marantel ngara alsel ang ngaringi kora relationship with til kausispe mangkal armela maranta uspe asis el mrula kalel yang ngaringi ko kora eyobong ulam sa maranta mangkal maranta continue mamsisi ulmong bakpadang la colors ramran daing gagi dal armel amran dal ngar al selamran diesel suko mang mo makial tatab engagi dal armel amran da maral ya maran da motral vingil help itself for surviving mana mo makial tatab masal iseng gagi dal armel amran eng mo maring ng kalmaran da swab ulmong mo elelew hindi ngaring ikalawa sa ngaring almost in that time mamaran tablo also be recover Michael Armela maranda mutal meke mamutal mo nga patingin diesel suko maranda mo experience sa maltokol bleaching na di alsala ki real time maluubang mo mga real time mal makial tatab eng mo taligi bal maring laringiya survive mang end up the belele with the kel ami ito utal brandal dakal sa bel mutal mo af so excited ya ko ra idea behind the kay kita coral bleaching el kora mering dakal mering ending kora mal mlemere adal happen yung laring ara adal tilo badal mura karikir malmle on ra dive site malmle ngila baranda ringi edimle alsa la tal Sunday gore lutal mong en lamo be elelaway kan maranda mong ngaringi sige del observation na atrabulu magimalo ring sula atrabulu dire kalmal pay attention na environment tergid o ay sa center gid mang sabi other mula kay gid dito sa rapid assessment na determine nila say gira den brura full survey ra coral bleaching matamal masala ulmang lang sa beet el kuk maruler tagi del coral bleaching el survey gid el at time el dire kan ngaringi report ringi ra al sala daka del belawe but I think there's also like reports on some places and then I don't know if you mentioned this but you also mentioned the coral bleaching the thing for was that NOAA yeah can you explain a little bit more about that
okay okay so one of the so we use NOAA's website, National Oceanographic Atmospheric Agency. We use their website. They have satellite images of the ocean and the earth, and they have predictions of what the temperature is gonna look like. So they track all of this. They track all of the environmental conditions, and one of the things that they do is they look at the sea surface temperature, and so they track that every day for every year. So you can go back on years to see what they were in the past. So we can go back and look at how much was how high did the temperature increase in those years that there was bleaching. And then also they give you a prediction of what's the likelihood of this area is going to be bleached. So they have a website that we use. And so the website basically just shows us the sea surface temperature and what the predictions are within this week, what we're current status, what it's likely to change in the next 1 to 4 weeks, and then in the next 4 to 8 weeks. So it tells us, we're in no stress, no need to worry, or if it starts to go to yellow, we're in coral bleaching watch. The second one is warning. So once we see that prediction goes to warning, just be prepared. There might be some bleaching. And then there's 2 levels. So the first level is level 1, and that's likelihood of bleaching, some levels of bleaching, and then level 2 is heavy bleaching. And so that when we do our surveys, we watch this website to see what the temperatures are, what the predictions are. We also go off what people are telling us and what they're seeing. And then also Pickwick has 11 temperature loggers that are out in the water all year round. We change those temperature loggers every 6 months. So, for example, right now this current bleaching, unfortunately, is logging the data, but we're not going to be able to see it until we go and change it out and put in the new one and take out the one that's there. We can download the data and we can see during this time what was the actual temperature, and we compare it to what we were looking at on the NOAA website.
Okay. Yeah, igalaw amlos mo di segi del kuk so mangkora sa ilang computer en ngaring segi del website tara NOAA. NOAA tagi del da sisil kora alaada lolto bada isalayol tama isala ringel dabo. Dili kal ngaring yakuk timer or adal aluk sembong or omsubel akal dalala dabo ma taletele la dabo. En mosa be el ospe ay gaigi del bekpadang la temperature to ay sagi del wase ang ngal masura bulul ada wangalak kadele la da bela el altam ya coral bleaching nging sab el happen malubang di dai job no stress malubat tangara warning ngaring aklot el lang happen na coral bleaching dili kal sagi del one del waseng la happen. So ang dili ko lulturi kagi del baby da resources sa beeda los pe online et dili kal kora compare ngi may kagi del available data ang kagi del sa dili kal center gi da ngaringa kuktong ngil malayak kal del la tabal el tiu el altam mga natab et tablo change rabi kalrak en blo sa December et change mang el asal maral December ang musta pa evel mong may gigi del temperature lockers kuk may o mesigi del data gi de compare more kagi del kuk data na NOAA wasing umlawa nga nga kadali la be sigi del baringa bleaching mag sa edelo misra timeline del wasing na nga spike na temperature or na nga drop and then so man nga drop and then akuk nga may factors sila akuk may contribute more tagi del coral bleaching event del domestic el altam mal sugo makom kora to del mora karker up to ter ngaligil mangge katub kora ngot a osingi ra basol omblo ngaringi el mabelelo amran de koreng sa atol mo kodoring lo asing tagi del coral bleaching event ma sugo ngaringi ako kora ngot al observation or commu ko mas el direkal dem ko ngot mera center gi dara 488-695-0 lalta nga igel kukara observation na kami gigidal time masaba el diri kal help el determine kukara bebira results el bota batigar tagid el survey malwaysay el timing tagid el full el survey la start talingi melato rio el malay gagid el data ra kukam subela to coral bleaching how long does it usually take for you to do like a full survey conducted?
Ideally, we want to try and finish all 80 sites in 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks.
One of the problems is when we do the coral bleaching survey, we need to time it properly so that we can go out and survey when it's at the peak. And because the temperature will continue to rise and then maybe it'll plateau or like level out and then it'll drop back down to normal. We want to capture the max bleaching at the peak. But if we wait too long and the temperature goes down to normals, the corals can recover from that. And when we go out to do the survey, we won't capture the full extent of the bleaching scale because the corals would have already either died or come back to normal. So right now we're trying to get all 80 sites, fingers crossed, in 2 weeks, but 2 to 3 weeks for all 80.
Mamsole igulaw so saygid el coral bleaching survey el ang lolas mamruringid al sila erul sunday el qora was el al qorakmal let's say qorakmal hot topic pun intended el al qoramal kaya tata matamis sagagid el coral bleaching ngungil domes ngungil daru la survey gid al sagid 2 weeks mga nga talet el mesal wase mamlaw nga ratal malel lel bol kamangal time laru la survey nga talet la manan da recover mang madakal sabi el wasing mamlaw nga raklungil la mo wasang nga qoram underreported mlamiyaw dal mesay gid el damages el mitamal mang sabi el mrulay gid. Speaking of assessments, adiri kalwan ako tuklol wala la center sa suko mga ngi agagid maklol event tawa coral bleaching malubong ko storm yawan na wala la center mo mrulay assessment right after a storm. So it may or may not happen, but let's say na nga stagid el dominical storm eli so mo kami sa ngin amoklo report tra reef ulba air or miltamal and then we might also do a assessment tra storm due to gagid al kora unexpected al weather conditions sabat al malmal marele then ding mal dire ko lultura ar adra bulu el dire kal mal bla oil al mathade imadra karker dire kaligay dal kukurangol sumusal o mo la center sa ya gimi sabran tarigel mabab elelew dala korang ngil luswal ay gimal appreciate so gimal continue encourage ra other blue musal so mga ngiya ay dal observation or environmental korang ng bongod el mal sa ilo dem wa alway say kadokora ara wala bang nila sure gid Anding ngaringi di tablol update nga karaw era podo ora mga simmer ang ngaringi announcement nga social media Facebook or git el ngaringi found color workshop yang ngaringi scientist del narsel or al adra woods hall the merbela wal memru la study tir ngaringi adri el madura to arts matul tamle askal recruiter ng school lagi o sigra 10 el motuel balngal el 12 to 14 years old el ma-attend ra class tal class sa mo nga ringi sel 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. el Tuesday Thursday ma Saturday el nga mo sabi el lomes amran malubot to misangil malmeye gora emsuba gigi del gora teletele la lakye ma teletele la symbiotic relationship ringim babira arm gora mo may gigi del subel meye o arts so gora omsubel la science lulta kara art matya nga dili kal open el mararo ko ngal belaw at so mga nga ligi wala ko ra sorry low arts sorry musuba to ko ra adab yung mas ilvi ko ra 488-695 sel sentergi sign up ra nga ligi with third class again third class sa 4 o'clock to 6 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Open to 12 to 14 years old dahil nga di ka nga niya open a slot so kung nga niya nga ligil interested small silvi umakatong na center yagi sign up per tier class sa gila lang mo ra November 3 ma-announcement tel ang wasing gidil sign up ra nga ligil LL sales LL November 1st malso ko tadi ka interested nga laki please sign up per tier at nga gible mo ra aringin mo after school man si ira nga laki mami ka school ikuk me joiner tigil extracurricular activity at nga maldi mo 7 class session dakal kamangala so bolso be sign up ra nga laki didikal marali isal sa PNMS song contest gimuro ringi open na ringin mo adra balul sa mga rato ko alitak mulo sa alitak malsal sukumang ko ra nga ringi experience ra mulo sa alitak mal sa BM malchon tal contest tal imiter contest o sti gra ko ra theme song or tagi del sanctuary rigid malubang tagi del ewat tele klingi la tabel belaw malway say tel contest mla open el morangi dil ath nga nga information el available ra Facebook page ma Instagram so mga nga kadi meng dili kal sa malukol ra 488-695 yagi answer yagi dil questions deadline tel contest mo November 18 Engel artist malubeng gel songwriter mo submit sa gidel submission na ringi la center el recording na litak ngi malubeng adel blan ngilti amom ngitak karingi al submit ringi lobanggel printed loose lyrics lobanggel man sa adel mom dangi ay kay gidel kora messaging til loose al sa tigid alitak lewan ra purpose tel alitak la dili kal ko to ko outreach ko kospe alitak promote messaging akora promotion or tigid al to ko palang National Marine Sanctuary so igigit ako ra ongoing activity al maral 2 months sel maulabong la sige del was sel bol merek tagi del contest morning at 11 morning sa baby rigel alitak el morning sige del concert del giba maruringil mo o ay singel mo kung sel hotel al ngu ko dara malasal tagi del song contest malway say dim lay gigit ya center gid el altime gimungat mo ko kamal mo visit rangal rang ayang ala gimle kinakantak tra adra school mang tamal dir ka sa Mariana kat mo kal mir kamam akmle message tira tuta lo kay kasi tadim lo dai chaprayol tandi ka sa el mo visit school etamils ka mama okay matamal misala ngal rang ayang mal katmoklel mingir ka mamal mo na Thursday mo kukmuro la babinagel outreach activity so may ikalawang ko natin yung update the bottom simmer Mr. Talam sa sung ko natin yung korakol or kere sabi etal ko ramang i-close sa rasyon kita ilang 2,000
okay
o malmisulang